Have you ever wondered how being physically inactive or sedentary affects your overall health? If so, then that's exactly what we'll be covering in today's video. So yes, in today's video, we'll be going over what physical inactivity / sedentary behaviour is, what are the physical inactivity levels around the world, some of the causes of physical inactivity, some of the health risks associated with physical inactivity, and some tips that you can use to help reduce physical inactivity. Hello and welcome to my channel, The Physical Activity Coach. My name is Jason and I have over 10 years experience in the health and fitness industry. This channel provides educational content on the relationship between physical activity and health. The main points that will be covered in today's video are: what is physical activity / sedentary behaviour? What are the physical inactivity levels around the world? Some of the causes that lead to physical inactivity, some of the health risks associated with physical inactivity, and some tips that you can use to help reduce physical inactivity. Yes, so let's begin answering the question, what is physical inactivity or sedentary behaviour? And I have a definition of sedentary behaviour for you from one of the textbooks from the American College of Sports Medicine. And they define sedentary behaviour is defined as any behaviour characterised by an energy expenditure below 1.5 METs or metabolic equivalents while in a sitting, reclining or laying posture. And if you don't know what metabolic equivalents are, essentially it's the amount of physical activity relative to the amount of energy expenditure. Anything below around about 3 METs is considered low. So if sedentary behaviour is 1.5 or below, you can see that's extremely low metabolic equivalent. Okay, so we've given you a basic definition of what sedentary behaviour actually is. Let's give you a few examples of sedentary behaviour or physical inactivity. So yes, physical inactivity includes prolonged sitting during office work or leisure activities like watching TV or gaming, failing to meet recommended exercise guidelines, relying on sedentary transportation such as long car commutes, minimizing daily movement by choosing elevators over stairs, or spending excessive time on screens without breaks. Okay, so now let's look at some of the levels of physical inactivity around the world. And we have a quote from the World Health Organization's website, and it states, globally, nearly 1/3 of adults, that's 31%, were not meeting the World Health Organization's recommended levels of physical activity in 2020. This equates to around about 1.8 billion adults. In 32 countries, levels of physical activity were more than 40%. And in 10 countries, over half of the adults did not meet the World Health Organization's global guidelines, thereby missing out on the benefits of reduced risk of non-communicable diseases and improved mental health. Okay, so let's look at some of the causes of physical inactivity. This is going to be from a study conducted by Srivastav et al. And states the factors influencing physical inactivity are multifaceted, encompassing individual, social, environmental, and policy-related elements. Individual factors include things like age and gender. Physical activity levels often decline with age, and gender differences can influence activity levels also. Health status is another individual factor. For example, chronic conditions or physical limitations can reduce the ability or motivation to engage in physical activity. Next are social factors. For example, family and peer influence. Supportive family or social networks can encourage active lifestyles, while lack of support may hinder participation. Other things like socioeconomic status, for example, income and educational levels, can affect access to resources and opportunities for physical activity. Other factors include environmental factors, for example, your built environment, availability of parks, sidewalks, and recreational facilities can facilitate or impede physical activity. Safety and accessibility. Perceived or actual safety concerns such as crime or traffic can discourage outdoors activities as well. And also things like policy and cultural factors. For example, urban planning. Designing cities to be walkable and bike friendly can promote active transportation. and cultural norms. Cultural attitude towards physical activity can influence individual behaviours and societal expectations. Okay, so we're going to be looking at another study by Park et al. 2020. It's going to be listing some of the risk factors associated with being physically inactive. Okay, so let's get into it. Number 1, sedentary lifestyles, mortality and morbidity. Sedentary time is independently associated with all cause mortality, cardiovascular incidence or mortality, incidence or mortality of certain cancers, and type 2 diabetes. Number 2, sedentary lifestyles and metabolic disease. Physical inactivity increases the risk of type 2 diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, and obesity. Number 3, sedentary lifestyle and cancer risk. The correlation between sedentary behaviour and cancer prevalence. The cancer risk was 13% higher in the group with the longest sedentary time compared to that with the shortest sedentary time, and another study reported that sedentary time increased the overall cancer risk by 20%. Number 4, lifestyle and osteoporosis. Yes, sedentary behaviour is known to show a negative association with the bone mineral density of the total femur and all hip subregions irrespective of MVPA, that's moderate to vigorous physical activity, and the bone mineral density of the total femur had a marked negative correlation with the sedentary time in adult women. Number 5, sedentary lifestyle and musculoskeletal disease. A prolonged sedentary time was correlated with chronic knee pain. In an analysis of the correlation between chronic knee pain and the total daily sedentary time, the results claimed that the incidence of chronic knee pain was higher in individuals with longer sedentary times. And lastly, number 6, sedentary lifestyle and other diseases, more specifically mental health. Yes, so mentally passive sedentary behaviours such as television viewing, sitting, listening to music, and talking while sitting were positively correlated with depression risk. And additionally, the cognitive changes after 30 minutes of sedentary behaviour with other activities for 6 months in older adults with little physical activity, replacing the sedentary time with moderate to vigorous physical activity, and sleep significantly improved cognitive functions. Last but not least, let's get into a number of tips that you can use to help reduce physical inactivity. These 5 tips are from the website, the British Heart Foundation. So tip number 1 is to take regular breaks from screen time. Less screen time can be achieved by engaging in outdoor activities, practicing hobbies like cooking or gardening, exercising or spending quality time with family and friends without electronic devices. Tip number 2, stand instead of sitting when you can. Standing instead of sitting can be done by using a standing desk, taking standing breaks during long work sessions, walking while on phone calls, and opting to stand during public transportation or meetings. Number 3 is stand up at work. At work, you can stand up by using a standing desk, taking standing breaks every hour, walking to speak with colleagues instead of emailing, standing during meetings or doing light stretches at your desk. Tip number 4 is plan active time when usually sedentary. For example, plan active time by taking short walks during lunch breaks, doing desk stretches, standing while on calls, walking or cycling for short commutes, or using stairs instead of elevators when typically sedentary. And number 5, set time limits to sedentary behaviour. For example, set limits on sedentary behaviour by scheduling regular movement breaks, limiting screen time to specific hours, using a timer to remind you to stand every 30 minutes, and avoiding sitting for more than 2 hours at a time. And before we finish, please let me know, what's your biggest struggle with staying physically active? Please put your comments below. Also, if you enjoyed watching the video and you feel like you got some benefit from it, please remember to like and subscribe. And to recap what was covered in the video, we covered the definition of what is physical inactivity, what are some of the global levels of physical inactivity, what are some of the causes of physical inactivity, some of the health risks associated with physical inactivity, and a number of tips that you can use to help reduce physical inactivity. And remember, physical activity doesn't have to be intense or time consuming to make a difference. Even small, consistent movements throughout the day can improve your overall health and well-being. Just start with what you can and build from there. Every little step counts.